Welcome to another episode of Objective Bias featuring yours truly. And this is going to be a special edition of Objective Bias where I'm recapping the 2024 Paris Olympic Games. And it's not going to be a complete recap, it's more so going to be a recap from my perspective, pretty much going over shit that I was able to watch, witness, and things I enjoyed. Usually when I'm watching the Olympics, outside of the sports, I usually watch like basketball, of course, and track and things of that nature. I am very intrigued with most of the events and activities that are made available. I watch table tennis, I watch cycling, I watch motherfucking swimming. Swimming be going crazy now. Like I be commending um, the preparation and how much in shape these motherfuckers are. You know what I mean? I watch gymnastics, mostly the women, some on the men's side. Like I watch all that shit. And it's just like I really do appreciate just the dedication, hard work, and just the professionalism that they display on the court, on the field, in the arenas, wherever the events are being held. I pretty much try to tune into as much as possible. The only thing that I don't really care about, and it's respectfully, maybe it's because I don't understand it, maybe it's because it's just not in my realm, my world, is the equestrian events. For some reason, I just can't get into them, but I'm sure with respect, they put a lot of hard work and dedication into their craft. It just may be, it's just not for me. Maybe just because I just don't understand. And that's cool. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, I'm pretty much intrigued with most, if not all, of the events. Now, unfortunately, I was not able to catch a lot of as much footage or as much as I wanted to because Paris is pretty much 6 hours ahead of where I'm at in the United States, Atlanta, Georgia, to be exact. I wasn't able to catch everything. Like even from the basketball side, I missed two of the men's games. One game when they played South Sudan, and the thriller that they had against Serbia, which I literally went back and watched the entire game because I had to see it. I kept seeing highlights. I kept hearing about it on sports talk shows and debates or whatever, and I'm like, damn, I missed a good ass fucking game. I really need to tap in real quick. You feel what I mean? So I literally was like, I think they played on a Thursday. I watched that game like that Friday night. I went to YouTube, found the complete footage of that game and watched it in its entirety like I was watching it for the first time. And I usually don't do that when it comes to sporting events. When I know the score, I'm really not interested in watching the game anymore. But I had to see it. I had to see it for myself. I had to see it from the opening tip to the ending. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. Let me really get into the recap itself. So, for those that don't know, the United States came away with the most medals, of course. Go US of A. We ended up with a total of 126 medals, 40 of those gold, 44 silver, and 42 bronze medals. Now, in this episode, I'm really just going to speak on the stuff that I was interested in mainly, or the things that I witnessed. I did tune into swimming, but I just enjoy it in its entirety. Like I'm really not familiar with the individual names. The last person I was really familiar with was Michael Phelps, and that was a minute ago. Yeah, so let's get into it. Men's basketball, of course, my shit, basketball. They ended up beating France in the gold medal game, 98-87. The game prior to that, that was a thriller versus Serbia. I believe they were down by 17 points at one point. Ended up coming back and winning 95-91 in that game, but they ended up coming away with the gold medal against France. Ironically, the women and the men played the home country of France. That was pretty interesting, to be frank with you. I want to talk about the U.S. and just how they went through the Olympic Games because I did touch on it briefly in my last episode as far as my expectations, my concerns, and things of that nature. I know Steve Kerr got a lot of slack with his rotations and how he proceeded with coaching these Olympic Games. And I was with Steve Kerr 100%. This ain't the motherfucking NBA. This ain't the league. This is the Olympic Games. We're here on a mission. Ain't nobody gonna be complaining about getting traded, getting released, whatever the case may be. We got 6 games in this bitch, and we gonna come and handle business. You feel me? And that's what they did. And a lot of talk was around Jason Tatum not getting a lot of playing time or being a DMP in 2 games. I believe both against, I want to say, Serbia, if I'm not mistaken. And the DMP did not play. And I wasn't mad at me personally, and this is no feat for real. Um, I know Jason Tatum is one hell of a talent, one hell of a player, one of the top 10 best players in the NBA. But I just don't feel like he is. And of course, the accolades, the first teams, the last couple of years, they say different, but I think there's more of a popularity contest at times. But I don't see Jason Tatum being better than LeBron or Kevin Durant. That's just how I feel. He is amazing. He's an amazing player, but if you haven't paid attention to the last couple of finals, he's been folding. When the moment gets extremely big, he kind of shrinks. He kind of shrinks, and it's no knock on him. I feel like he's going to develop into the ultimate superstar that his talents um, indicate he's going to be. But you got to grow into that, and he's just not there. I feel like this will ultimately serve him better with his upcoming NBA seasons. It's going to give him a hell of a lot of motivation. Hell, even got them Jaylen Brown, who felt like he was snubbed with the replacement aspect, which I get, but I also feel like Derek White was the perfect insert as far as a glue player. Though he doesn't really need the ball, and superstars, it take him a little bit of time to get it going with other superstars. And the USA, we didn't have time for all that. So even though as a player, Jaylen Brown is better than Derek White, he just was a better option for the team given the mission. You get what I'm saying? But they're gonna be held this upcoming season. Shit, I ain't even gonna lie to you. That shit, it may propel them to be back-to-back champions, which I believe in the NBA hasn't happened in the last 6 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. I may be off by a season, but I think it's 6. But neither here nor there. The U.S. men's team handled their business, ended up winning by 9 or 16-point favorites. And my overall take with just watching 4 out of the 6 games live, I did watch 5 in totality, is that the world definitely has caught up. Like for real, like there's a lot of talent throughout the world, and even though 4 of the 6 games were blowouts, they weren't like crazy blowouts. They weren't like 40-point wins, 50-point wins. They're like a 20-point win, a double-digit win here and there. Like it's pretty respectful blowout. So the world is definitely here. Like they've been coming for a while, but they're here. So US, we need to get on our P's and Q's when it comes to the fundamentals, which, I'm not going to get into that right now, but we got to realize what it is now. And also, before I go on to the next team, which is the women's team, for a brief moment, Jokic, if he wouldn't have gotten foul trouble in that semifinal game, we probably wouldn't have been in the finals. I'm just saying. I can't hold you, even though I don't really care for his game because it's awkward and slow and he's unathletic. Jokic is the best player in the NBA. Like his effect on the game is crazy. Like for real. So much respect to Jokic. Like that guy's a beast. Now, I was kind of upset. I didn't really get a chance to catch any girls' games, full games. I watched most of the highlights. They just always came on too early. Again, it's a 6-hour difference. Um, from here to Paris. So even the gold medal game, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that shit I'm thinking it may come on in the afternoon on Sunday. That bitch came on early, like early in the morning. By the time I woke up, it was the fourth quarter. I was like, what the fuck? But they edged out the France women's team 60-66, which I was surprised with, because normally the U.S. women's team dominate the Olympic Games. Our U.S. Women's basketball team is usually far more superior than other countries. So I was kind of surprised with how close it was, but nonetheless, they handled business. A'ja Wilson was the tournament MVP on the women's side, and LeBron James was the tournament MVP on the men's side. So, congrats to them. Congrats to both squads. We handled our business. Now, let me transition into some controversy that occurred during the Olympic play. Now, if y'all were not paying attention or you didn't notice, there was this whole big thing with, I believe her name is pronounced Iman Khalif. If I'm not mistaken, if I butchered your name, I do apologize. But Iman ended up winning the gold medal in the women's welterweight boxing division. And the controversy came into play um, because there was intense scrutiny about her sex and gender. Now, let me just give some background, and this is what I researched or what have you. Khalif is a woman who is not transgender nor identifies as intersex, according to GLAAD, GLAAD, and Interact. Khalif reportedly has DSD. This is a difference in sex development, which is a set of rare conditions involving genes, hormones, and reproductive organs that can cause sexual development of a person to be different than others, according to the NHS. This can sometimes lead to a person having XY chromosomes, but develop otherwise female. Now, of course, you know that was a big ass discussion, and even someone brought it to my attention as far as um, thinking, and I was in the same boat. My ignorance was there as well. That this was a transgender woman that was allowed to box among women, and to be told, she just wasn't. And I didn't know that until I, did a little research and heard a couple of more perspectives or was educated on what the fuck was going on. But my initial thought was, how unfair is that to allow it? And this will be a topic for another day, but I am a firm believer, like, first of all, as far as your sexuality, gender, or what you identify as, that's completely up to you. That's your business, whatever you choose. Hey, I have nothing against it at all. It's your life. Live your life to the fullest and how you want to live it. As long as you ain't harming nobody, I'm good with it. But with that being said, I disagree with, if you do change your sex, your gender, or whatever the case may be, participating in a sport amongst peers that are opposite of what you were born as. Like, I'm sorry, being a sports guy, I don't agree with it. I'm more to a league being created for those type of individuals, because you got to understand, it's not really about anybody having a problem with you being who you want to be. Sports is about competition, fairness. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if genetically you are built in a certain way and you go to another sport with people that are built, in a genetically, a different way, that could be looked as cheating. And that's just the simple fact. So even though this was not the case, just to, throw my 2 cents into it, that's how I feel about the subject overall. But apparently, she is female, and there was a reason she was allowed to participate in her division. She ended up winning gold. Um, hey, congratulations. She is filing, I believe, a complaint to anyone that was involved with putting out hateful or disparaging comments online or whatever the case may be. Hey, if you can win that shit, go ahead and do that shit. You feel me? Like, I ain't mad at you. But that was one of the controversial things that happened in the Olympics in Paris. Now, with that being said, I am mad I didn't get to see any boxing events. That is tragic. Again, the time difference that played a factor in what I viewed or what I saw. But that's neither here nor there. Now, my second favorite event or events, so to speak, are track and field events. I rock with track and field like a motherfucker. Now, I never participated in track and field, but I sure appreciate watching the motherfuckers sprint and go fast. Like, there's something about swimmers and track and field athletes. And, I appreciate the long distance runners, but I'm here for the short. I'm here for that action. You dig what I'm saying? If it's long distance, 12, 1,500 meters, that's as much as I'm watch. Outside of that, I'm good, bro. Respectfully, you know what I mean? There's no shade. It's just things that I may be, interested in. So let's go over the track and field events that I actually paid attention to, and the stuff that I gravitate to. And I'm just gonna. It's not gonna be lengthy. It's gonna be only U.S. only because this is the U.S. of A. That's what I'm rocking with. So I'm giving them their flowers, their props, and all of the above. So for track and field, our women's 4x4 100-meter team, they came and conquered the gold. Um, uh, Matt Masai or Massey Russell, I'm sorry if I'm fucking up your name. My apologies. She won the 100-meter hurdles. Sydney McLaughlin Laverne. I'm sorry if I fucked up your name too. My bad, Sydney. She won the 400 meters. Tara Davis Woodhall won gold in the long jump. Gabby Thomas, salute to Gabby, one of the popular ones. He won the 200 meters. For the men's, Grant Holloway, he came in gold with the 210 meter hurdles. Uh, Ray Benjamin, he won gold in the 400 meters. Our men's team won the 4x4 relay, came home with the gold in that. We have Cole Hocker that won the 1,500 meters. Quincy Hall won the 400 meters. And if you didn't catch that shit, just go down, go to YouTube. That shit was crazy how Quincy came back. It looked like he gave his all, like a motherfucker was about to pass out, and he just hawked whomever came in second down at the end. That shit was epic. You got to go watch that. Quincy Hall, 400 meters. And then we have Noah Lyles that won gold in the 100 meters, and he placed third, won the bronze medal in the 200 meters. Now, I wanted to end with Noah, and of course, you notice I said I went down the list of everybody that won gold in their respective events, but I wanted to put that last one where Noah won bronze in 200 meters there for a specific reason. Now, for one, Noah Lyles has been attempting to make a name for himself for quite some time now. He's been outspoken. He's been pretty extra, just bringing attention to himself, trying to market himself in a certain way. The only thing about his marketing is that it is bad marketing. Like you're building a brand that nobody really likes. What I mean by that, this was the first time I've ever witnessed, and I was going for him in the 100 meters just because, he represents the USA. Hell, even the 200 meters. But it's just his antics, things he has said in the past. Um, he kind of comes off as a hater, and I'm gonna get into the specifics of what I'm speaking about in that regard. Um, Pretty much, there was also some controversy with him losing, or not losing because he did medal, but he said that he was going to sweep all of his events and win gold and everything. Hell, he barely won the 100 meters. They had to pretty much come to a photo flash finish to see who he got notification that he won, he started to gloat and say, "Oh, I told you." Bruh, I feel that you won, but you barely won. Like, it's not like you like that, like you just blowing out the competition. You barely won. So be humble, be grateful for the W, but that's not the position, that's not the marketing strategy that it has. Now, the first thing that caught my attention with Noah was a few years ago, or maybe last year. I don't know when it was. He made a comment about NBA champions, and again, he just comes off as a hater. That's the problem with him. He was like, of course, I'm not going to repeat this verbatim. I'm gonna paraphrase pretty much. He was speaking about the NBA champions being considered world champions, talking about world champions of what? The United States. Don't get me wrong. I love or I like the United States sometimes. Come on, bruh. Like, again, understanding your premise, I get it, but you're coming off as a hater. And as I have made a reaction video on TikTok about this, just explaining to Noah, of course, I know he didn't watch it, but the people that did that, when they say world champions, technically, motherfuckers like to argue and shit. You're correct. But what they're referring to is that the NBA is the best league in the entire world. The best players in the world come to the NBA to play. Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic. The list continues. The best players in the world come to the NBA to play. That's why they're called world champs. But since no one wants to be a hater, he wants to argue the technicality of it. And that's where I'll begin with him. He just a hater. You know what I mean? And then another thing that he said that recently came out, I don't know if it was right before the Olympics or when the Olympics were, ongoing. Pretty much, Anthony Edwards, he has an Adidas shoe. He's an Adidas ambassador, so to speak. And I guess he was asked to do an event or come to an event where they were, I don't want to say they were honoring Anthony Edwards, so to speak, but he was the main attraction. And verbatim, Noah had this to say: "You want me to do what? You want to invite me to an event for a man that who hasn't even been to an NBA Finals in a sport that you don't even care about, and you're giving him a shoe?" Now, he did backtrack and try to explain his approach. Is more of a negotiation tactic with Adidas, but you're hating in the process. Why are you speaking on that man's name or referring to him during your negotiation? Again, just hating. You feel what I'm saying? And then the icing on the cake, so to speak, was when he placed third in the 200 meters. So I don't know if y'all saw it. You can always go to YouTube, the introduction. In track and field, motherfuckers may do a wave, may do a little whatever with their hands, display a little bit of their swag, whatever the case may be. Noah has a whole goddamn introduction like he a wrestler on WWE and shit. Like, just being extra. Flying, again, bringing attention to himself. Again, he's working his brand, whatever that may be. Um, but he does all of that to place third. And I know he was embarrassed because he then gets carted off in a wheelchair. Really, Noah? Then he allegedly tests positive for COVID. A couple of days later, he has no COVID and he's in the club. Now, I'm not one to say if he had or he did not have COVID. I'm going to just say allegedly. But the optics are very, uh, you know, but yeah, it's just Noah, like, you may be the only, he may be the only U.S. athlete in the Olympics that people wanted to lose. Like, again, I wasn't one of them at first, but after the fact, if you would have lost, I wouldn't have been mad, bro. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. Again, it's just bad marketing on your behalf. How? how are you wanting to be the villain against people from your own country? Like, help me understand that, bro. Like, I get it. You can have that perspective all you want, but who is hating on anyone in another sport in the United States? For real. You know, he gives, this is what he gives, right? He gives that he was a lame ass individual growing up, didn't have any friends, but he was gifted athletically. So he worked his ass off to become a spectacular athlete. Now I'm not gonna take that away because I can't goddamn see you in any aspect on that damn track and field. Say but you know, he worked his ass off and was like, you know what? When I get to this level, I'm gonna show you. Fuck all you. That's how you come off. Or this motherfucker that was bullied and shit, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna train very hard. I'm gonna be the best or one of the best in my craft or my sport, and I'm gonna give it back all to all of you. Because you see how he's talking. I'm not even gonna get into that part of it, but it's like, bro, chill out. So I'm, whoever your PR person, you need to fire and get somebody else because that marketing strategy is trash, my guy. It is. Like I was even talking, even seeing stuff online, like people were really from the United States now. You're the only one I've ever seen in the history of viewing the Olympics that people wanted to lose from the United States. That's very telling, though. That is. But that's all I wanted to really touch on in this episode. I wanted to kind of give a recap of how I view the Olympics, things that I watched and I was interested in, and kind of touch on a couple of controversial topics. Another one I don't really have too much knowledge of because I kind of heard about it was Jordan. I don't know her last name. She's on the women's gymnastics team. She was supposed to or has to give her a bronze medal back, which is some fuck shit on some technicality of some 17 seconds, some shit that wasn't reported. Man, give her bronze, fuck all that shit. What the hell y'all talking about? Man, give Jordan her fucking bronze. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna end it at that. Anyone can talk, but not everyone can podcast. With that being said, I'm out.